Hey, me, Makari. You joined Discord and Twitch. Hey, thanks, bye. Okay, so I think it's been some time since we last did an SCP reaction, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of ashamed of myself that I haven't come back to this sooner, because there's something about the SCP brand of content that just tickles those certain dark fantasy neurons in my brain. So, with that being said, we're being joined by Twitch chat, and you, yes you, can be part of that experience too by joining us live on twitch.tv. I feel like this is going to be a journey, so no pause champing, no hesitation, we're just going to get in and see what this is all about. Let's get the creep factor. I'm so ready.
Good morning.
Hello.
Everyone.
I'm everyone.
My name is Researcher Miller, and the SCP we're going to be studying today is SCP-1678. Object class...
Do you think eventually they just run out of numbers?
Special containment procedures. SCP-1678 remains only partially contained.
I'm going to point this out as well. With the amount of SCPs that have been documented, how is this world still alive? I know it's like theoretics and like what ifs and hyperbole and everything, but with all of the contained and documented SCPs, the planet should literally be in flames, destroyed, not even existing. Especially with the amount of like galactic ending SCPs that exist, like reality ending SCPs. I haven't watched SCP stuff in so long. I've completely forgot my terminology. All right, let's go.
Task forces Tau 4
Just saying, as an
and
observation.
Epsilon 6 have succeeded in establishing a defense perimeter around the Hyde Park district of SCP-1678.
So this is literally in the center of London.
SCP-1678-A largely ceasing their attacks on the perimeter of the Foundation-held area. A long-term research base is currently under construction, and mobile task force commanders are preparing an assault on the SCP-1678 Natural History Museum with the intent of capturing a forward command post to direct.
So is this just literally a parallel dimension of London?
Aims involve the capture of an extension of the defensible perimeter to the SCP.
Okay, I get this. This is kind of a funky thing. Like alternate realities, alternate dimensions. I love this concept. Such a cool idea. I just can't get over the fact that this is fucking London. Like, oh man, SCPs, they could be anything wild and wondrous. Oh, a device that scans your brain and creates a mimic of you. A coffee machine that makes anything that you type in on the digipad. Cool, awesome. Nah, this SCP's London. Just fucking London. Get the bobbies out there and the rozzers and we'll fucking turn you into jammy dodgers and all that.
1678 Natural History Museum, and to research and ascertain the origins, construction, and weaknesses of the SCP-1678-A entities. Long-term aims involve efforts to halt, hinder, or control the reduction of SCP-1678-A entities, and to assault the SCP-1678 Houses of Parliament, where the being, entity, or intelligence responsible for the creation
So they're literally just going to assault...
SCP-1678 is believed to reside, and
they're pulling a V for Vendetta.
contain the aforementioned being.
Okay.
Description. SCP-1678 is a full-scale mirror image reconstruction of the British city of London, located...
Did you say shitty? I'm sorry, this is my ADHD brain kicking in. Did you say shitty? Okay, the mispronunciation aside. So it's a mirror image. Of course it is. Because the only thing that the British people hate more than foreigners are themselves. Fucking Britain, love. Bloody Britain. And the fact that I don't know if this is like meant to be a poetic like allegory for how terrible England is. Like, screw the patriarchy, down with the eat the rich. It just seems very allegoric, very sort of poetic towards how England kind of is. Like, realistically, a mirror image of London filled with abominations wouldn't really be far from what London actually is. Goodness gracious. Thank you for the follow, thank you for the resub.
Exactly 1 kilometer underneath the original city of London. Currently, only the Hyde Park district of SCP-1678 has been explored, but all buildings,
huge
at least within the explored district, correlate exactly to their surface counterparts in terms of location.
You and I both know if either of us ended up in UnLondon,
in terms of architecture,
we would straight away go and try and find our own house.
The city has been constructed to resemble the city as it was in the Victorian era.
Oh,
with
never mind.
constructions designed to resemble traditional gas lighting prevalent on the streets, and with all modern buildings in the original city of London being
Seriously, someone who was into steampunk came up with this idea. You can tell. Back to the Victorian age. Back to the basics. You know what I'm saying? Screw your technology. We're going to get our Bobby Beat boys out on them streets. We're going to be shitting and pissing on the road, and we're going to have a fucking good time about it. Interesting.
represented in a Victorian style of
Modern
architecture,
versus classic.
most notably the skyscrapers of the business district. Illumination is infrequent and unreliable, and it is unknown how SCP-1678 has acquired
Kind of gives me a vibe of
steady
Infinite
oxygen
IKEA.
and gas supply. SCP-1678 is believed to have been constructed instantaneously by unknown means, with the SCP-1678 Houses of Parliament serving as the
Would this count as a liminal space, do you think? Because it is kind of funny how a lot of these SCPs that end up being like instances of a place kind of resonate with that sort of backrooms liminal space kind of vibe. Like, this is kind of why I always find it kind of funny with like SCP content versus backrooms content, how the overlap of the liminal space kind of mantra is always very prevalent in both. But you look at things like the Infinite IKEA, for example. They take a concept of what you know, something you're familiar with, and they tweak it ever so slightly, and then they pull on your strings that make you hate it even more, because what's the one thing that you hate about something? Oh, London. What would you not want to have with this thing? What would you not want to have with an IKEA? What would you not want to have with a staircase? An infinite version of it. Because London and IKEA and going up and down stairs are bad enough in themselves, but at least they end. At least eventually you're like, oh, thank God, no more fucking Swedish meatballs. Oh God, I'm out of London. No more paying the pollution tax and £50 for a sandwich. And oh, thank God there's no more stairs. I'll take the escalator next time. Not in these cases. They play on the fear of like, ah, man, now I gotta deal with this shit forever. I love the premise of it though. I think that's how you make a liminal space work. You make it familiar enough that your brain recognizes it, but then you play on the fear of the what if it was infinite.
Epicenter for the construction process. This is evidenced by the fact that as distance from the Houses of Parliament increase, there is an exponentially increasing frequency of flaws in the construction of SCP-1678.
Okay.
Such as houses built
So it's
entirely
an emulation.
out of copper pipes or other unconventional materials. Gas lights
Doesn't smell like a
being
living organism.
little more than a metal rod topped with a floating orb of light. Buildings containing no floors.
Yeah, it's a bit like a
At
simulation.
the furthest explored distance from the epicenter, no windows.
Imagine
or
you start
doors,
going away and you
aside
just
from the
like
foundation
end up in a
occupants
vacuous void
and
of
cases
white.
SCP-1678
You're in the Matrix,
A, B, and
Neo.
C, SCP-1678 is believed to be uninhabited. SCP-1678 is believed to have been constructed with the intent to harbor the survivors of an XK-class end-of-the-world event.
Oh, so it's not just like an actual space, it's like an actual parallel dimension kind of thing. Interesting. Okay, cool.
By an audio recording that will activate and play upon any person entering the city.
So we're assuming at some point it was inhabited,
following is
and then the taxes got raised, and they're like, oh man,
Audio
taxes.
recording. Entrance to UnLondon.
My fellow citizen, if you are hearing this tape, then the world as we knew it
I love this vibe of
has
recording.
finished. The sky has broken. The ground heaves with a tramp.
How are you doing, my fine
celebration,
effeminate fellow?
And all the horror and madness from the dark corners of the world has broken free to exact its vengeance on the world of man. Those who sought to contain them are killed or scattered.
This is a very good recording.
And we soon learned that to attempt to fight these creatures is almost invariably to face one's death. Countless billions have been slaughtered in their attempt to sate their endless appetite for death. And there is
Oh, they got
nothing we can do to
overrun.
stop them. Evil has raised its bloody flag.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is why it's a terrible idea not to allow your populace to have readily access to blunderbusses and muskets. I use my musket for home defense. Monstrous SCPs try to bust down my door. I reach for the good old blunderbuss. I use mine for home defense. Monster at the door, blast him away with my musket. Monster come through the back door, I resolutely turn around and blast him with a second volley. And a third rapscallion coming through my ceiling. No worries at all. I use my balcony mounted howitzer cannon to blast him away, just as the patriarchy intended.
On all nations of the world, and crown its unholy victory to the
Nowadays, though,
broken sky.
England's like, you got a license for that knife.
This is the end. But there is a new hope.
Hi, Richie.
Welcome to UnLondon, a city of survivors, a city of the free.
So it feels like this was just like a slice of a
Fellow
different
citizens,
universe
We will wait and prepare
that sort of
for
got
the new
translocated into our
grand
universe.
new world that is soon to come. Let the world above burn. We will endure. Let the monsters have their world.
I
We
didn't
will
think it was
prepare.
possible to make London sound
Let the
worse than
ground
actual
tremble with a
London.
new Armageddon as evil consumes itself. For I tell you, citizen, upon the day of the ruination of man, their insatiable appetites will turn them against one another in their endless lust for death. We will wait.
I stand corrected. This actually
And I
sounds
tell you,
better
citizen,
than current London
That there will be a new
because there's
world,
less people.
and you will emerge from
You know, the
UnLondon
monsters, I
and
could deal with the
stand
monsters.
blinking in the sun.
That's something
As
I would
our children
tolerate for the
play
fact
and
that
laugh in the bones
there's
of
not
horrors
really
long
people
dead.
here.
And you
This
will
might
walk
actually be a more
hand in
tolerable version of
hand
London.
to the sea, our faces skywards, as the rising sun ushers in the new age of man.
Like, if I can walk down the street at all in UnLondon without getting shanked, stabbed, robbed, accosted, solicited, then it's a better version of modern London. Monsters aside.
And on that day, citizen, there shall be a new order. As we raise the Union flag,
Okay, I want to really clarify. I want to see if I can clarify something. Am I right in saying that this is not its own pocket dimension, but it's a different dimension that was sort of slipped into our dimension? Because that's kind of what I'm getting from this. Looking at what people are saying, so it's not exactly a pocket dimension. It's man-made. Interesting. Okay, I'm trying to grasp my head around this. I want to make sure I understand this, because I love this concept. I love the whole idea of liminal spaces, and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything with my horrendous ADHD and tisminess getting the better of me. Okay, let's continue.
over the entire world.
I'm sure we'll find out as we
I
go through.
welcome you to UnLondon, the last city, and the first.
You know, this is giving me the vibes of. Give me a bit of a Bioshock vibe.
There are other audio recordings here.
That kind of
I
aesthetic.
will describe each one before I play it. The following message is relayed on the end of every hour.
The time is 9 o'clock.
Also, if anybody wants to talk like old London to me, I'll
Obviously,
reciprocate in
every
kind.
hour wouldn't say 9 o'clock for any of you smartasses out there. That was just an example. This
Whoa,
plays
okay,
on
dude,
approaching
okay.
a
I know
bank
I'm pretty
or
smart.
police station.
Don't have to call me out like that. They all know.
You are
Everyone here
entering
knows
a
I'm smart.
restricted area. Have your authorization papers ready. A Bobby will arrive to
A
escort you.
Bobby. Dude, they did their research. Oh, mate, you're gonna get fucking nicked, you is. Oh, you got your license, you got your papers to be in this location. Oh, you don't, well, you're going to the jail, you is. You with the Rossers and all that. Yeah, fucking England. Come on, England. Do you reckon they have football? You got a license to watch this football?
Warning. A single case of SCP-1678-A will be summoned. On being cited by
Oh, there
a
are
case of
creatures. Okay.
SCP-1678-A, the
Wait.
following audio line
Are the Rossers literally an SCP? Oh, that's hysterical. I legitimately think this might just be an allegory for how fucked London actually is. Like, all intents and purposes, yeah, this is fantasy. But think about it. I think the way this is kind of trying to be depicted is the way people perceive London to actually be. Like, nobody likes the police. It's all stinky. Like, it's like the world's perception of London, sort of iterated upon in an actual, like, a more physical sense rather than metaphorical.
lines play.
I love this concept.
Police.
Not just because it's
Drop your
English and all that.
weapons. Come now. Let's be having you.
No, yes.
Police, don't run.
Randomly, once per hour, the messages below are selected examples
Barry.
of the 1678 observed audio recordings.
No one is safe from the influence of mimetic beings. Have yourself assessed.
Okay, this can't be from England. No one in England knows how. No one in England has enough of an education to be able to pronounce mimetic. Like, Brexit has hit us hard. Grammar, literacy in this economy? I don't think so. So we can easily tell this is a parallel dimension. Or not at least modern London. If this was modern London, this sentence would sound more like this. Oh, mate, you is proper dizzying from that banter you're having with them creatures of the night. You know what I'm saying, fam? We are a doomed society. Just put us behind some bars, erect 7-mile-high walls around all of London and keep us away from all of you.
Today. You could be possessed by a mimetic horror and not even know it. Psych assessments are free and easy. Visit a clinic today.
Whoa, this place has free healthcare? Sheesh!
Identifying a cortex worm's
Must be nice.
infection early
I wish we
makes
had free
it
healthcare.
impossible to remove. Speak to your doctor today. Have you noticed anyone acting oddly? Tell a Bobby immediately. Crime will not be tolerated in UnLondon. I warn you. The tormentors of society will become its defenders.
Interesting. So there's a zero tolerance policy. This feels like a bit of a trend with some of these places. Like in the Infinite IKEA.
Stay
Yeah.
vigilant.
You remember how in the Infinite IKEA, you did stuff against the rules of IKEA and you'd get the workers coming after you, the faceless workers. This is very similar to Infinite IKEA.
Ensure you are well rehearsed in all breach protocols. There is no excuse for panic or confusion.
No
during
excuses,
drills.
you fucky what, mate?
Can't make ends meet.
You're not the
Do
boss
not
of
be
me. I'm a
ashamed.
pre-individual.
Rise and
At
assume for the
least I don't have to go to school no more.
I rule in the interests of the many, not the few. There are no special privileges.
Steel bunk beds, a common feature in any building suitable for the purpose. Foundation researchers have advised that most explored buildings within SCP-1678 are unfit for human habitation. Due to a high performance of mold, damp, and poor construction within these buildings, some buildings are outfitted for
So like
other
modern
purposes.
London. Okay,
Most
not everything
notably,
is different.
The SCP-1678 version of the Natural History Museum,
That is very modern
which is
London.
featuring
Lots
an
of
exhibit
mold.
titled The Fall of Man, and contains representations of several known SCP entities, and images and artwork depicting apocalyptic settings. The key threat posed by SCP-1678 is by entities referred to in some SCP-1678 audio recordings as bobbies.
Bobbies. Oh,
Bobby is known
bobbies,
to be a
mate.
Victorian-era British slang.
But for the Americans out there, I'm sorry, there's a lot of like British terminology that's coming up in here that you may not understand. As a representative of England, as much as I don't like to acknowledge that, bobbies is another term for rozzers, pigs, bobbies, the fuzz, or for your term, stop resisting people. And for more common terminology, the police, the popo, the red and blue, the 911. I'm sure there's other terminology. You get the idea. The police.
Term for policeman, henceforth referred to as SCP-1678-A. These entities are constructed out of human corpses, crudely dismembered at the head, wrists, knees, and elbows, and reassembled using industrial
grim.
hinges and screws.
That's
The
my
head
body
is always
horror.
wrapped in bandages. They are dressed in a uniform similar to Victorian-era police.
If you don't follow
are
the
extremely
rules,
hostile
we'll make you
towards
enforce
Foundation
them.
personnel, attacking them on site with improvised weapons. These attacks are always preceded by
The main policeman in my mum's town was
SCP-1678-A,
Officer
emitting a noise
Bacon.
similar to that of a policeman's whistle, and all loudspeakers within 100 meters.
Did they have
emitting the
Deputy Constable Donut? That would just make my day. Honestly.
Audio recording.
Bacon and donut on the case.
Criminal. Instances of SCP-1678-A are extremely resistant to damage, with only high caliber rounds.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels with this and Infinite IKEA.
They are believed to originate from a building named Bryson's Home for the Poor, as evidenced by an inmate-style jumpsuit worn under the uniform. To what extent they interact with other SCP-1678 entities is unknown.
So I'm assuming this is why they're assaulting the Parliament. So, okay, I'm kind of getting this sensation that it is that like it's that like literal like one-to-one that the Houses of Parliament are kind of like the control hub of this place. So I'm assuming that's kind of like the reason they're trying to assault the Houses of Parliament is to try to get better control of this place. That's really cool though. The fact that the SCP are actively trying to like assert control in this place, like actively engaging in like military sort of combat with this place. Oh, I would love to kind of get a more visual perception of this.
Overview. SCP-1678-B. Role Surveillance, also known as Eyes in the Sky. Cases of SCP-1678-B are biomechanical constructs which resemble that of a small avian life form. They are composed of central mass of a red organic matter, stitched together by a copper exoskeleton that resembles a spine and wing bones. The head has been demonstrated to be a small video camera, and remnants of feathers and plastic on the exterior.
If it's London, it's definitely a pigeon.
Once intended to resemble a pigeon. Cases of SCP-1678-B are known to possess no offensive or destructive capabilities.
Dude, pigeons of London are so aggressive. Like, you go to any other part of England and the pigeons are like very docile. The ones in London will steal a chip from you and then come back for vinegar. Like, oh, fucking give me that. Oh, you got some salt and vinegar with that? Fucking, like, full on, like, SpongeBob meme of big hench birds just coming along and yoinking your stuff. That's how fucked London is.
Yet their ability to track task force movements should not be underestimated. As it is currently known, if they are capable of communicating with or summoning cases of SCP-1678-A, cases of SCP-1678-B.
So these birds are still less problematic than actual London pigeons.
Yet their large numbers makes their observation of Foundation activities extremely difficult to stop.
Free food though.
Occasional
pigeon tastes good. Legitimately.
Allude to their existence.
Gamey. Not much meat in the bone, but you can eat pigeon. Just saying.
Observing criminal activity beneath the title UnLondon's Eyes in the Sky, alongside a small message to the effect that anyone destroying or vandalizing an eye in the sky faces up to 6 weeks in unit.
Redacted.
And this is the SCP-1678-C
they could have said anything there.
Overview. SCP-1678-C.
There's another one?
Unknown, also known as Wretch.
Hey, are they about to call me out?
Cases of SCP-1678-C resemble a humanoid figure dressed in rags. They appear to be...
Oh, come on, dude. It was a late night. I forgot my clothes at home. I couldn't help myself. I'd have been on the piss all night. And I was just having a good time. Look, it's just the way it was. I just couldn't find any clothes. And the clubs didn't want a naked person in there. So I had to grab whatever I could. It's not my fault.
Old age and are usually, although not always, female. They have always been encountered outside the Foundation held area. There have been
British woman moment
encounters with SCP-1678-C entities.
No simping. Come on, I know what you're all doing. No, it's not an easy date. Stop trying to simp.
And it is currently unknown how many cases exist or to what level of threat they pose to Foundation security or safety. Encounters typically feature cases of SCP-1678-C sitting on a street corner with a begging dish, whereupon they will attempt to attract...
I went to London, like, 2 weeks ago. No, a month ago, sorry. To go to Comic-Con. And at one point, we went to go get food somewhere. And again, this whole thing being an allegory just of a differently transposed London kind of hits so far. Because we went into, it was either a McDonald's or a Burger King. Either way, we went into one of these food places, and it was literally on one of the street corners. And there was a lady sat outside the building on the very tip of the corner. And this is a busy freaking road. And what they do to really pester you is they will, they're begging for change. They're doing what, the busking side of things. But they put the very small, flimsy cup really far out in front of them, literally in the middle of the road. And what they're expecting is for people to put some change into it, but they're also expecting people to just knock it over by accident. And if you do that, they'll get up and start chasing you down, going, oh, give us some fucking change, you caused me bother, give us money. It's begging has become a skill in London, but at least it's not as bad as Paris. If you guys have ever been to Paris, you'll know what I mean. Those beggars and buskers are a whole different breed of bullshit.
Act the pity or mercy of any Foundation personnel within their proximity, with pleading or begging for food or money. Supplying a case of SCP-1678-C with food will cause them to begin weeping before dematerializing with a burst of dense black smoke. Foundation personnel are currently under instruction to not interact with them. They are briefly alluded to in a SCP-1678 audio recording. Do not pity the wretch. Allow them to pay the price of their betrayal for all eternity.
Ooh, this one's kind of creepy.
Remember.
So this one's a witch from Left 4 Dead then. Bother them and they shall scream in your ear like an incel. You bothered me!
On the day UnLondon
But imagine
rises,
a Left 4 Dead type game in actual England.
Loyal,
that'd be so cool.
But traitors shall be forever damned. And finally, this is SCP-1678.
Another one?
Overview.
At the beginning, they said this place was uninhabited. That was some gaslighting and a half. It's inhabited by demons, which is basically the regular populace of England. Yeah, this is about the time you pull out the Flammenwerfer.
Role food supply, also known as Dr. Goody's
never mind.
Food. SCP-1678-D is believed to be the primary food source on offer in the event that SCP-1678 receives full-scale occupation. SCP-1678...
I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say that this food, considering its name, is not very wonderful. I'm going to assume, considering the tempo and the mood of this entire place, the term wonder is a bit of a misnomer. I'm going to say that the food is very likely not very wonderful and will in fact give you the diarrhea. But still better than McDonald's.
D is freely and easily available from steel vending machines installed in virtually every building or structure outfitted for the purpose of habitation. The vending machines are upright steel pumps, similar in size and shape to that of a modern petrol pump, containing a slot for the receiving of coins and a flexible rubber hose ending in a trigger-operated...
Literally, oh mate, I'm fucking starving. Let me fill her up a little bit. Just open your mouth and yet probably still more hygienic and healthy than McDonald's.
Nozzle that will deploy half a liter of 1678-D upon appropriate payment. All vending machines display the legend Dr. Goody's Wonder Food alongside an image of a smiling child enjoying a bowl of SCP-1678-D and text bubbles advising that 1678-D costs just a farthing a bowl, that it contains all the nutrients you need and completely restores health and vitality. It has proven to be extremely attractive to cases of...
Oh, it's a slop dispenser. Damn, they're just able to produce my content out of a machine? AI truly has gone too far.
SCP-1678-B, C, an unknown species of colored mollusk, which has been observed feeding on any spillages. SCP-1678-D is a synthetic starch gel, heavily enriched with various minerals, vitamins, fats, and bulking agents. In addition to this, it contains several unknown molecular structures and various engineered DNA helixes carried with...
Why do I get the sneaking suspicion that this food is responsible as to why there's nobody down there? If you want a zombie outbreak, this is how you get a zombie outbreak. Oh, it's proper good for you, mate. It's good for you. Eat it. It's full of microplastics, your GMOs, your starches, carbohydrates. It's full of all the cognito-altering requirements you're gonna need to be an absolutely upstanding, indoctrinated member of society. It definitely won't turn you into a fetus.
within synthetic cellular structures. It has the same consistency and taste as porridge. As advertised, it
porridge
contains
is
all the
disgusting.
nutrients necessary for
Not
short-term
the,
survival.
not the flavor, the texture.
However,
If I wanted to
Foundation
eat
researchers
boogers,
have
I would
advised
eat
that
my
over a
own
period
rather
of
than
more
porridge.
6 weeks, users of SCP-1678-D will become dangerously underweight due to low levels of fat and protein within SCP-1678-D, and are
So it's McDonald's that has been ground down into a paste and pumped through a tube. They could just say that. Just condense this all and just say it's a pump that gives you macas. Like zero protein, yeah, basically that. Man, I want to go off at some point about people's diets and notion the importance of protein and actually having a balanced diet. I'm not the best myself, but at least I know the difference between eating McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and having Monster as a substitute for any kind of nutrition. No, Monster Energy Drink is not a meal. Stop it. Get some help.
are at a strong
I vowed
likelihood
it.
of contracting illnesses such as scurvy if survival is attempted by consuming SCP-1678-D alone. SCP
And yet, parents will see this as a miracle cure for having to do the dishes or even feed their children properly. Don't want to do any cooking? Feed your child Wonder Slop. Yes, Wonder Slop, the solution to every house mother's need for ease of consumption.
1678-D appears to be purposely engineered to manipulate the psyche of the regular consumers. Through a mixture of unknown molecular compounds, regular consumers are more obedient to authority, are less likely.
See, that's what I told you. You guys think that those microplastics are just, you know, delicious microplastics and psychiatric domination? Ah, yo, you hungry guys? You want to become more obedient and submissive and agreeable? Open wide, say, dude. Of course, this would be in London. The conservatives, the libs, they don't care. They're trying to fill you full of microplastics and make you more agreeable. Like some conspiracy theorists out there would say that this is a allegory for modern England and how they're trying to psychotropically dull the entirety of our populace into being more obedient and submissive. Anti-vaxxers will tell you that this is just how they get to your brain, that how they make you more agreeable.
Likely to commit acts of violence,
sheep, I tell you,
and are less likely to engage in sexual intercourse, have a reduced
What?
capacity for fear or panic.
Sorry, was that? Repeat that?
Capacity for fear or panic, of course, have a reduced authority, are less likely to commit acts of violence, and are less likely to engage in sexual intercourse, have a
Less likely. You know that you can't go below 0, right? Like you can't have less sex than nothing. I'm just saying.
a reduced capacity for fear or panic, and have consistently high morale. In addition, it also has engineered side effects, such as depressive symptoms and headaches if a subject suddenly abandons consuming SCP-1678-D.
So this stuff literally lowers your IQ and just turns you into a maggot.
SCP-1678. SCP-1678
Again, not far from modern
would serve
British
as
food,
the
honestly.
primary food source in the event of a
We may
large-scale
have started
habitation.
the fucking spice trade, but we certainly don't know how to fucking use them. Dude, English food is depressing. Like, British food is just every shade of brown with nothing in it.
Foundation personnel are forbidden to consume SCP-1678-D, even in small amounts. Not all vending machines produce SCP-1678-D to the same quality, with some machines deploying corrupted forms that have induced severe mental or physical abnormalities, or death, within the consumer. It is currently unclear what entity, being, or intelligence is responsible for the creation and maintenance of SCP-1678. It is unclear as to what event or disaster SCP-1678 is being prepared for. Alright, chances are if you were assigned to this SCP, you'll be trying to find that out.
Interesting.
This concludes my lecture for today. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
That doesn't really give us any answers. I mean, it gives us a vague outline. Oh, I want to learn more about this one. That's actually fascinating. I think this might be one of my favorite SCPs. Like, the whole concept of, like, an entire, parallel London kind of thing. Ooh, I could imagine this would be the kind of, like, sort of anomalous location they would set one of their games in. I'm actually kind of disappointed. We have less games in the SCP universe than we do in the back rooms. I don't know. All right, well, if you guys like this, if you guys want me to do more of these kind of deep dives into specific SCPs, then do let me know down in the comments. In fact, if you have an SCP suggestion that you'd like me to check out, please leave a comment as well. I try to make sure I check all my comments where possible. And I've been seeing all of you guys saying, oh, I paused. Yeah, I get it. I'm not the best to react, Andy. I get it. But, you know, those who do enjoy my content, please, by all means, suggest stuff, and I'll do my best to check out whatever you suggest, or go by the Discord, or come by the Twitch and tell me how stupid I am. It's entirely up to you. Either way, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.